This episode of This and That with Mitch and Matt is brought to you by Bypass Pawn of Moorhead, Kentucky. Bypass Pawn was voted #1 pawn shop and gun store in the region. The good folks at Bypass Pawn have all your firearm, ammo, jewelry, tools, and electronic needs covered. So come on over and check out Bypass Pawn and tell them Mitch and Matt sent you down.
What's up, world? You guys are tuned in to This and That with Mitch and Matt. This is episode 14. As it always is, I'm Mitch.
I'm Matt.
I'm Blake.
I like he rolls his eyes. And tonight, I'm very honored, very excited to have a guest with us, a 29-year veteran of the fire service, EMS service, a big hunter with Hunter Specialties, Realtree, Mr. Carl Drake, coming at us from Indianapolis. Is that where you're at tonight?
Hey, yes, sir.
Yes. Thank you, brother, for coming on, taking the time to hang out with us.
It's my pleasure. My pleasure.
I know I talked to you a little bit prior before. I don't know if Blake's too big of a hunter. I know last episode he hunted a little bit back. He said it'd been quite a while since he hunted. Matt hunts about every year, does some rifle hunting.
Yeah.
Usually comes away with a couple of kills. In the evening. Yeah, he's not a morning guy. I go to Matt's house about 4:30, 4:45 in the morning, ready to go hunting. There's no chance getting him out of bed. I've never got him up one time. He'll answer his phone real just begrudgingly and mad at me. I go, hey, what's up? Yeah. He'll go, yeah. I'm like, you getting up? Go, no. And he just hangs up, and that's the extent of it. So, but like I said, when I knew I had a little connection to get a hold of you and get you on, man, I've watched some of your hunts, and especially when you were on Archer's Choice, it's amazing, man. Some of the places you go and hunt. So, first of all, man, I appreciate what you do for the fire service. I know we all thank you for that. The EMS. You've been a medic and a firefighter for 29 years. Is that right?
Yeah, I started out as a firefighter, as a volunteer, actually in '86 with the local fire department here. Dude, I'll tell you what, be honest with you, I wanted to go to college. I wanted to be a conservation officer, but it just, with the way our paths go, I saw a volunteer fire department, saw what they did, and I thought, man, I want to do that. So I got on volunteer, and then in '91, I got hired on full-time with the City of Carmel, Westfield, or City of Carmel here in Indianapolis, and man, the rest is history. 29 years this fall I'll complete, and it's been a best job I've ever had in my life, man. I love it.
I appreciate that, especially right now with everything going on. More appreciative than ever for our first responders. I became a volunteer firefighter, I think, in 2006. And I've done that for about 8 years until I got injured. I've had a couple of back surgeries, but I've been a medic since 2011. I worked in the ER for 10 years. That's how me and Matt kind of got hooked back up after high school. I worked at a county truck for about 7 years. And eventually, man, my body just took a toll. I've had knee surgeries, back surgeries, shoulder surgeries. So I still work a truck every now and then, but I always be appreciative for everybody, especially the first responders out. I know you're still working every day through all this pandemic, man. And so very, very thankful for people like you. So thank you for what you've been doing, Carl.
Oh, man, I'll tell you what, it's been a game changer, with all the COVID, how we do business anymore, it's just changed a lot. And I'm also the tactical medic for the SWAT team here locally. So we've been super busy with call outs for protest. With Indianapolis, you've seen what happened downtown.
Wow. Yeah.
And it's, it was like almost 5 days in a row. It just was all night long. And it was really eye opening. I tell you that much on my end. I had never experienced anything like that, as a tactical medic. We do our warrant services and little stuff like that, which was no big deal. But then when you got people who are there that want to hurt you, just because of the uniform you wear, it definitely,
yes, sir.
It's eye opening.
Yeah. Right. That's what I was going to ask. I didn't know if you'd ever experienced anything kind of like you're doing now, because I think with COVID and with everything we're seeing, I don't think anybody's seen kind of what we're seeing right now. And when protesters are out, not just so, peacefully, but they're out to harm first responders. And I didn't always see what happened in Indianapolis to you guys, but I did see them throwing rocks and bricks at a couple of the tower trucks in New York. Oh, man, that's a whole nother ball game. I feel like when you're out to hurt the people there to save, that's a big deal. But,
and when we did this, the things that I really picked up on, and this was from a lot of our undercover guys, there was people there who wanted to protest just to have the conversation, which is awesome. Let's have the conversation, Then there was others who were coming in there to take advantage of an opportunity to, better themselves by breaking into places, destroying other people's property. And They were well organized too. And, we was able to kind of pick those guys out. I mean, those are the kind that, that's where you need an intervention, from the law enforcement to take care of those guys there. So, But like I said, I understand the protests. Let's have the conversation. I'm all about that.
That's 100%. I know that the podcast is probably kind of new to you, but what, guys? 2 episodes ago, we had Kevin Dixie on, who is originally 2 or 3 episodes ago. He is he's from St. Louis, currently residing in Atlanta, and he is a huge civil rights activist, 2A supporter. And when he initially comes on, because Kevin's a big, he's, I don't know, he looks like he's 6'2", 6'3", probably good 280, just a big, solid, big black guy who comes on and you think he's going to come at you one way. And he's kind of like you. He's like, let's sit down and have the conversation because, there's things on both sides that we need to talk about, And so that was a real eye-opening episode, I think, not just for us, but I think for everybody that got to listen to that because he had a lot of good things to say. And he comes at it from an angle I don't think a lot of people thought he would. So it was nice to sit down and talk with him because he came at a different angle than what we're used to coming from Eastern Kentucky. He come from a place that was hard growing up, a little harder than what we thought. Yeah. But for you to be out every day, man, I applaud that because I know that's not easy to go out and do your job normally on a, I don't know, you guys work 24, 48s or 72s or?
No, we work like 24 on, 24 off, 24 on, 24 off, 24 on, 4 days off. So
okay. That's like a flight shift.
Yeah, like a flight Kelly shift. Yeah. So so I'm supposed to work Friday, Sunday, Tuesday. I've already taken Friday, Sunday off, but yeah, I like working it back to back way. That way, I'm a senior guy, so I get all the vacation days I put in for, and I can take up to a couple months off at a time if I need to.
Nice, right?
That's awesome.
Yeah, man. Well, I applaud the hell out of you for what you do, man. And real quick, I just want to ask. I know that's not the biggest buck you've killed behind you. But that, to me, is a glorious buck, and I would love to have on my wall. But I know that's not the biggest one you've killed. So, what's the story with the one?
That buck, I had been watching him. That's a Fleming County deer right there. Fleming County, Kentucky.
Nah, it's right next door.
Yeah, and I've had him on camera several times, and I bow hunted that deer, and that deer was one hard booger to hunt. And opening day of gun season, I saw him chasing does. I saw him chasing does over to the next property, and I thought, he's gone. And then 3 days later, I was sitting in a tree stand, and I see a doe come over the hill, just running hard as she can, and here he came with his nose down. I was like, are you kidding me? And he ran right to 30 yards of me. I'm like looking at my gun going, where is my bow when I need it? And
man.
But I wasn't gonna let him walk away. So
no way. Man, you can't let that leave.
Yeah. So he ended up being about a 163, right
he's
where
pretty.
at. So
he's a nice buck. Yeah. What I know Matt will be interested. So you do a lot of the SWAT. I know you do the medic for the SWAT team and things like that. It's probably a little different than here is in Kentucky. Do you guys carry weapons? Your medics and stuff carry weapons as well?
Yes. We all carry either Glock 17, Glock 19s with 9mm right now. So I think we're actually talking going to an OMS or MOS with a sight on top of it. Is what we're looking at. But yeah, all my medics carry. They know that's a fallback weapon. That way, if we get our primary thing is if we have an officer hit, he's our primary. Hands down, we take care of the officer, pull him into room, work on him. With my medics carrying, we can protect in place and let the SWAT team go do what they need to do. So they don't have to dump a guy off to babysit us. You go do what you need to do. All my guys do SWAT qualifications with their firearms. They also do it with all the ARs and everything. That way, if we have to pick one up, that we are all qualified in it. And it's a line of paperwork we have to cover our own.
Yeah,
guarantee it, man.
It's interesting.
It's double duty for you guys because you're not just responsible for the health and well-being and taking care of the injured and the wounded and the gunshots, but now you're also got to protect yourself and others because now you're looked upon as just a member of the SWAT team. So that's double duty for you guys, I'm sure. And I'm sure the stress level in that is through the roof.
It gets interesting. I will say that, but it's an excitement, and anybody in the fire and EMS service, we get a rush out of this. I mean, hands down, we get a rush doing what we do. We don't want to see houses burn. We don't want to see people get hurt, but it's that challenge of either putting out that fire or trying to fix what's wrong with this person. Cardiology to me is awesome because when you see a heart rhythm, you're like, wonder what that's going on there. How can I fix that and reverse that? Or even cardiac arrest, it's like, how can I get this heart started again? What's my drug therapy or my electric therapy, and I can help them. And then when you see the end results, that makes you feel so good that you was able to do it.
Yeah, I know Matt's he's been in phlebotomist for what now, Matt? How long you been drawing some blood?
Over 10 years now.
So me and Matt went to school together. We all three actually went to school together. Matt and I caught back up after high school, and we worked in the ER together. And it's always, you never want to be that guy like, somebody comes in the ER and it's boring or it don't seem to be as exciting as something else. But I think as a medic, you look for that intense trauma or that, like you said, that cardiac arrest. Or I always prided myself in EKGs and cardiology because I worked in a good ER who taught me a lot as far as medications and cardiac rhythms and all that. So anytime some type of cardiac issue came in, I was always, if you'll let me jump it, I'll jump it and go. Because that was my thing. I would much rather bring that in than take in.
Oh, absolutely.
Ankle springs and belly aches. And, I'll do that because that's what I'm signed up for and that's what I'll do. But if I can get on a cardiac arrest or I can get on a good trauma, I was out the door before the next crew could even get up off the table. So I was ready to go.
Yeah.
But
And I share. I work in an emergency room also here at one of the local hospitals. I've been working in emergency room for 10 years. They stopped the medic program here recently, so now I'm working in endoscopy. So which is a whole different level of Yeah. But I find it interesting too. But the nice thing about working in ER, and I don't know how it's there, I was the only one that could do EJs. I was the only one that could do IOs, and I was the only one with standing orders where I didn't need the doctor's orders to take care of the patient. I could go ahead and do it. And the nurses were like, they were, anytime an EJ needed to be done, they was like, hey, can we watch, because we've never done one. So yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
So I tried not get too cocky about my job when I was in the ED because I knew the nurses, those girls and guys went to school for 3 or 4 years and they had put in clinic hours. But when it came to EJs and it came to intubations, if the doc couldn't get intubation, they never hesitated to come get me to intubate a patient. There was only, before me in my ER, there was one medic, and she worked there for years, but she basically kind of started lines and passed meds. And when I come along, I actually got to sit down with the director of the ER and the CEO of the hospital, and we rewrote complete protocols. So I took a patient load just like the rest of the nurses. I did patient care just like the nurses, but yet when it come to an EJ or an intubation or something needed to be done, or there was a line that couldn't be got, they would yell at me and come get me. And, you can't help, I don't think, sometimes let that go to your head and feel a little good that you're the one that came and got,
Oh, absolutely.
When I see you nurses called downstairs and would ask for me specifically to come up and start lines, that always made me feel pretty good. So,
that
actually reminds me. I went to EMT school, right, in Boyd County, and Chuck Cremines was my teacher. I don't know if you guys know him.
Taught me. That's who did my EMT class.
And
2006.
First of all, he's hilarious. Like he's an awesome teacher. He's got a very dark sense of humor, but he would always talk about how nurses and medics kind of. He says nurses are jealous because paramedics are able to intubate and do a few different things that they're not able to. But I don't know, he seems kind of old school. Like he's really into the kind of the headbutting with the nurses, but he's a super funny dude.
I don't know about Carl, but I know, like I thought on my end, I've got medics that I used to work with that always said, well, they're just jealous because we don't have to ask permission to do things.
Yeah.
But in reality, we do. We just have a big book of protocols that we ask permission before. Like,
yes,
we said, hey, when this happens, can we do this? And they were like, yeah, you can. And that's the only difference. Like,
kind of like a blanket statement for every situation to ever come up.
Right.
Like, hey, is this loud? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's the first and only time I'm going to ask.
Right. So we ask permission. We just do it, years before it happens or whatever. So
yeah, exactly. And there's a reason they give us that permission in advance and everything. So they know it needs to be done in the field, because if we don't do it in the field, they're not. We're bringing a corpse to the hospital. So
yeah,
there's plenty of times in the ER I could wait 2 or 3 minutes to talk to a doc at the nurse's station. But when I'm out in the middle of a field or in a ditch or a creek, I don't have time to call and get, medical advice over the phone. So, so it's the same. I think now I've noticed as medics and nurses kind of intertwine more. One of my best friends, he was a nurse at the ER with me for about 7 years, and he flies now. And he's told me on several occasions that he said, man, you medics, you run stuff outside the hospital. He's like, I didn't know what I was getting into. and he's he's a damn good nurse. He's one of the best nurses I know. But I also think when he got out in the field and started working with some medics, he had a little, and he even told me he came down a level or two. He really met some guys that had to think on their feet and had to go and didn't have time to ask permission, or ask what I do. You just got to do it. So
right.
I always think being a paramedic is one of the greatest achievements I'll ever have, and it's one of the most stressful jobs I think I've ever had in my life. So. Especially with what you're going through now. I couldn't imagine if I was working full time in a city right now, dealing with the riots and the protests, what that would be like. I don't want to know. So I don't envy you. I applaud you for what you do, but I definitely don't envy you for what you're doing.
Yeah.
Now these guys,
part of the job.
I get it.
Yeah, that's awesome. These guys, they know that I come from a streaming background. That's kind of where I came into this podcast from. But they mentioned that you were a medic for SWAT. In streaming, there's this whole new, it's not new now, people are starting to learn about it more, phenomenon called swatting. Do you have any experience with that? Is that anything that you've ever ran into?
Oh, yeah. There's been times we've had 911 calls came in that said, hey, so-and-so's got a handgun. He's in the house, got these people. And we roll up on the house and, and nothing's going on. Yeah, we've had it. And I'll tell you another thing that we've had happen before is we've had incidents where an address pull up, same thing, but the 911 call came from Carmel, California.
Yeah. That
somehow the calls got disseminated and sent to the wrong, dispatchers. So we're rolling up on these houses and everything. It's like, no, it's not here, and find out it's in another state or another area. But we've had a few swatting calls, and they've been able to capture or find out who they were and take care of those, just a couple kids or something like that. So
you know what it is, Mitch?
No, it's this look on my face.
Okay, so it started a few years ago. It started with YouTubers and streamers, so they would be live. Some people in their audience would find out their address, and they would call from other countries or other states and say, this person is holding their wife and kids hostage. And then they would send the SWAT team out to the streamer's house, and then they would get there, and obviously nothing's going on. They're just sitting at their computer streaming. A year and a half ago, 2 people playing Call of Duty, one swatted the other, sent the SWAT team to the wrong house, and the guy got killed, and he wasn't even part of it. He was just a father. Nothing to do with it. They sent him to the wrong house. The SWAT team went there and shot him. So it's starting to kind of come out in the news a little bit more.
So what's the point of doing that? Just for fun?
It's a shitty prank. That's really what it is.
Like you get pissed off at your video game person, and you just send an entire SWAT team to their house, and they're just like, "What the fuck?"
It's the wild. I've never heard anything.
It's dangerous, though.
Yeah.
Very nice. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not good at all, man.
No,
I've never heard of that in my life. I didn't know anything about this.
Yeah,
it's happened to us a couple times. So yeah.
Oh God.
So man, we've talked some serious stuff. I've looked at some of your hunts, and now you've been on Realtree, Hunter. You're on with Hunter Specialties as well, right?
Yes, sir.
But now you've done Realtree TV, Archer's Choice, and lately you've done The Break, right?
Yep, The Break. Yeah. So I started out with Quaker Boy years ago as on their calling team. And I wanted to be on Hunter Specialties. That's where my heart was, just some of the guys I knew there. So it was back in the day with Steve Puppy was marketing director. And then the very next year I got on Hunter Specialties. I've been on several of their DVDs, if you remember the Cut and Strutting series videos and Primetime Bucks. And then we actually rolled it into a TV show. And then wasn't long after I got on Hunter Specialties, I was going and doing shows for Hunter Specialties promotions. And then Realtree had asked me, say, hey, why don't you come on board and do them with us also? So I've been with both companies for a little over 20 years right now.
Right.
And, even though like Hunter Specialties has just been transformed from GSM has bought them out, but it's still a Hunter Specialty brand. I run the pro staff and do stuff for them. And then, I was with Archer's Choice for a little while there, doing some videos with them. And then, like I said, for the last 7-8 years, I've been with the Break TV show, producing footage for them for the TV show on the Pursuit Channel. So,
Nice.
I love doing what I'm doing. So
I guarantee it. I've always envied that. I don't remember when we first hooked up, I told you I had I want to say a great uncle. I guess he is. His name was Zendel Carroll, and he was on Archer. He was field producer for Archer's Choice years.
I know Zendel.
Yeah, a few years ago. He's from Carter County. So, he always would show me his kills, and the places he went, man, were just unbelievable. Like some of the places he got to go to hunt. So far, I guess so far you've been in this 20 years, but after 20 years, what's the place you went to that just still takes your breath, man, when you get to go hunt there?
Man, I'll tell you what, I've been to New Zealand. I've been to Canada. I've hunted all over the country. But I'll tell you what, my favorite place to go and I would do it every year if I could, is South Africa. I have a love for South Africa and the animals and the people over there. It is just unbelievable. Now, I won't say that I want to kill an elk and I want to kill a mountain lion. So that may change after I do that. But for now, just South Africa is my go-to place, all-time favorites place. There at Eland Safaris. Yeah, they are my number one right now.
Man, yeah. So you said a mountain lion and elk. Are those your two animals, that you've got left on your bucket list to kill, or is there something else you're looking to take?
I want to go back to Alberta, Canada. I was up there hunting with Archer's Choice, and man, I saw some of the biggest bears I've ever seen in my life up there. I actually swung and missed on one, and they were just giants. So I want to go back up there and kill a big black bear. I have killed a black bear. It was in Ontario, but after seeing those there, it was like, man, it's like deer hunting. It was like going to Florida and shooting a deer, and then coming to Kentucky shooting deer. You're like, oh man, I want to, or then going to Iowa and shooting one. It's like it's night and day difference. So Alberta has got some giants, so that's where I want to go. Now, there's some bucket list animals. I want to shoot a hippo. Lions on my bucket list too, and everything. So there's a lot of animals still out there. So I'm building a new house in 3 years in Kentucky, so I got a trophy room I need to fill up.
If you want a black bear, come to Ashland. There were two right outside my house, like a week and a half ago. They like ran across the road and up into the woods, and my daughter was outside, and she was like, "Is it bear?"
Just hanging out in downtown Ashland.
Yeah, well, she thought it was a big dog, is what it was. Right. And my mother-in-law was outside, and she was like, "Get in the house! Those are bears!"
So I know I got a video today. I don't know if anybody else seen it, but I live in Moorhead, Kentucky, and I live maybe an eighth of a mile from a Buffalo Wild Wings, and there's a creek that runs behind it. Well, today there was a little black bear behind it, and it was playing in the creek. So everybody's sending me pictures. They're like, "There's a bear by your house. Watch out." And I was like, "Well, I'm not home, but okay. I mean, I got two dogs. They're in the house hanging out, Yeah. But bears always something I wanted to hunt. I actually didn't get into hunting until I was probably, I'll tell you how I got into hunting. I had a buddy at the fire department who was about 6'4" and probably 300 pounds, and he sold me an old PSE bow. And I knew nothing about, my dad didn't hunt, fish, nothing like that growing up. I bought the bow for $50. I bet the draw length on it was like a 32, and I'm about a 28 and a half if I'm lucky. So here I was pulling this thing back, just letting it fly with my fingers. I didn't know what I was doing. Yeah, I was just bruised arm for week after week. Didn't know what I was doing.
Basically, and me with a bow.
How you did better than that, man? Yeah, I tried to get you into bow hunting, but after it took me a couple years to actually get into wanting to hunt and actually put the work in. And I'm 30, be 36 now. I was probably 28 when I got into hunting, and it was always bow hunting. I didn't care. I killed my first buck last year, actually, with a bow. I've killed about 5 deer with a bow, ranging probably from 20 to 40 yards, things like that. I'm not a big rifle hunter. I love to shoot bow, even if it's out of season. I just love to shoot in the backyard. But I love the challenge of bow hunting. I've been in a stand or been in a blind. And it's brought me a newfound love of, I think, the outdoors, of just being out and being out, and I take Matt with me all the time. I go up and do mock scrapes, and I feed, or I plant, and I, take care of the land, and, do all that, put my cameras up and stuff. And
pack
I bet you I wanted
the corn up the hill.
Yeah. We got a nice couple 100-yard walk up the hill, and we packed 40, 3 or 4 40-pound bags of corn up. And actually this year I had a bunch of stuff stolen from me, which kills me, man. I've hunted up in the same area for about 4 years, and it's a nice little piece of land I've got. It's over in Elliott County, Kentucky. And I've never had any problem with it. And I went up there this year, and everything I had was gone. Everything was stolen.
Even the cameras, just
even
so
the cameras,
tell who did it. They took that evidence with them as well.
Yeah. So I wanted to go up before I had my shoulder repaired a week and a half ago. I wanted to go up and get everything set up, but now I'm just gonna take Matt with. Matt's just gonna have to hawk it all up for himself this time, and I'm gonna supervise. But
I need to get some 4-wheeler ramps for my truck.
Yeah, we get 4-wheeler. We hawk it now like we're young and agile, and we're not. We definitely need some 4. I don't have a lot of land. So we don't utilize 4-wheelers like we should. We just tough it out and just walk it up and down the hills. But
didn't we just use like 2x10s for that when we were kids?
I used to put just plywood down, just ride the 4-wheeler off the back of the truck with some plywood.
I always just found a hill and just back the tailgate into it and then just drive it off.
That's like pulling up on the curb to change your oil.
It's amazing.
It works, man.
Yeah.
It's amazing any of us are still alive.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff you think about that
I've
we've
been
done.
there with you.
I mean, it's rough, especially growing up in like Eastern Kentucky. You just do what you can to get by.
Yeah.
You make it work. So Corey, where are you from originally? Are you from up there in Indianapolis?
I'm originally from Mansfield, Ohio. That was where I was born and raised.
Okay.
Now, my dad's from Flemingsburg, Kentucky, and my mom's from Olive Hill, Kentucky. So I got traits down there. So, and I'll be honest with you, that's where, when I retire from the firehouse, I've got 500 acres there that I'm going to retire to, and that's where I'm going to set up camp and just call home once I get out here. And
yeah, you're right with us, and we're all, I think, all 3 of us born and raised in Olive Hill.
Yeah. And my fiance wants to go back. She just doesn't want to go away from her family. She loves Olive Hill.
My fiance said she would never go back. So there's that. So
I'm
sure if I start naming some names, you're going to know some people I know.
Oh, I guarantee it. Out of the 1,500 people there, you're bound to know somebody. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now the hunting TV shows and like the sponsorships and everything. I've always kind of been curious how that works. My father-in-law, when his name is Craig. When he was younger, he would go hunting with this guy named Chris over here in Boyd County, and Chris had some experience with basically television editing and that kind of thing. They just kind of started filming this little show of them hunting, and it eventually ended up getting sold out. And they were doing, I think it got picked up by Outdoor Network or something, but they Craig didn't want to move and leave his family. And Chris went out and did it. Is that kind of just how does that happen? Like, how do you get the exposure to get picked up by something?
And here's what I tell people. They even ask me about being pro staff. They say, "What do I do to get people to pick me up?" And I said, "Man, give them something that they want more of."
Mm-hmm.
The hunting world is huge, but yet again, it's small. We're seeing, basically we used to only watch hunting in DVD videos or on TV. Now with social media, YouTube and everything, that whole that band of hunting TV has kind of broadened itself and everything. We air on the Pursuit channel. So basically the way the sponsorship works is you've got a cut fee for airing on a time slot on the Pursuit channel. If you don't have a good time slot, it's not going to be as much. If you got a pretty good time slot, it's going to be a lot more. If you're going to like the Sportsman's channel or the Outdoor channel, you're paying big money. I'm talking $100,000 or more just to air on that. Yeah. So what we do is we have certain levels of sponsorship. Browning Trail Cameras is our title sponsor. So they give us an X amount of dollars. We were fortunate enough to pick up Browning Trail Cameras, Browning Firearms, Browning Apparel, Browning and Ammunition. So we pretty much have that whole gamut of Browning with us that have picked up our sponsorship. We have HHA, Sights and Rest. Vortex Optics is one of our sponsors too. So basically they help pay for that time slot that we're going to air on. So basically, we give them commercial spots and everything. Mm-hmm. They do provide us with products and everything. So we have different spots. We have money sponsors, and then we have product sponsors. So like Matthews Archery is one of our sponsors, but they just do a product or a discount for their bows and everything. So our guys can pick them up and everything. So like with the Break TV show, the premises of the Break TV show is we all have full-time jobs. Me being a firefighter, some of the guys work in insurance, some of them work on railroads. So when we have a break to get away from work, what we do, we hunt and everything. So there's about 3 or 4 of us who provide a core amount of the footage for the TV show. Then we have guys who are boots on the ground guys who actually will go in stores, help out with promotion, stuff like that. And those are the guys we give the discounts and stuff to. At the party, we always give away product because the sponsors will send us products. And then we try to renew those contracts in the first of the year. We actually, there's 3 of us that travel with Browning Trail Cameras that do the ATA show here in Indianapolis, SHOT Show in Vegas, and do a lot of the individual dealer shows, whether it be Reno, Nevada, Fort Worth, Texas, just all over. We travel with them doing that. And that's part of our contract for them being our title sponsor. So it pays for that spot, and that way we don't have a lot of bills to pay out of that. None of us are doing it for money. We love the sport. We love to hunt. We just have a passion for it. And that's why we do it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
When I first got into hunting, it took me, and you can probably ask Matt, it took me by storm. It was something that I never imagined that I would. Growing up, I was the kid that had like tunnels in my ear. As you see, I'm tattooed. I always called myself a punk. I remember going around the street on a skateboard. I couldn't skate. These guys skated. I carried it around like I skated. I never could. And I never thought I would be a fisherman or a hunter. And then as I got older, I got this newfound respect for like the outdoors. And when I got into hunting, it was such a challenge and such a buck fever is a real thing, and that still blows my mind.
Oh yeah,
I just want to say that because I've drew back on does, and nothing in me really makes me that nervous. But this past year, 16 minutes in the opening season, the opening day, I had just a nice little 6-point buck come out. And I had never killed a buck before, and I wasn't gonna let it pass me because I don't hunt at this stage of my hunting career. I hunt for meat and I eat it. And I drew back on that buck, and I was shaking so bad that I had to put my bow down. I rested the bottom limb on my leg for a minute, and I said to myself, "You got to calm down. Like, what is going on?" And I drew back again, and it was this, and I put it down again, and I said, "Man, you've got to stop." And I didn't ever want to let, I never brought the arrow down, and I pulled back up, and I just a little bit had calmed down, and then I placed a great shot on it. But I sat down, and I was sweaty, and I was panting, and I was like, man, I never believed buck fever was like a real thing. And it still blows my mind to think that I was that worked up, that my adrenaline was so worked up over the difference in taking any animal or harvesting any animal, I think is still a big deal, but the difference in that buck blew my mind that was a thing that existed. And it turned into something I never wanted to let go. Like I'm out, every day I want to go hunt. I'm counting down the days till September 5th right now just to go.
and I'll be honest with you, man, I get tore up like a train wreck. And it doesn't matter what animal I'm hunting, whether I'm in Africa or anything. Man, I'll be sitting out turkey hunting, like in the spring when I was in southern Indiana. It was an afternoon hunt, man. I'm just fooling around, sitting down, and my buddy, we just called a turkey for him. We took it. I'm gonna go back out, So, we're sitting there. I'm just kind of looking around. It's a nice day, So, and like, oh my goodness, he's close. He's close. And you're sitting there holding your gun and you're shaking and everything. And that's the thrill of the hunt. I mean, that really is just that whole experience. I don't care if it's a turkey or if it's Cape Buffalo, they all tear me up, man. I love it. I absolutely love it.
You call so well, though, that you just called and I got cold chills because you called so well with your mouth. Because I hunted I spring hunted in Kentucky for turkey. But hearing you call right now just gave me cold chills. And I was like, man, I want to go hunt. I took Matt with me a couple times this year. It was the first time he'd turkey hunted. And I think he enjoyed it. I think you liked it a lot.
Did you guys see any turkey?
Yeah.
Yeah, we attempted to run and gun on one, and they're just too smart, man. And you're busted from hundreds of yards away, and I'm too fat and half handicap, and it wasn't working. But we gave it a good whirl.
Yeah.
Well, you guys, I'll come with you next spring. I'll get with you next spring, and we'll put one in your lap, man. When you're sitting there and it's dead quiet, and they come in on you silent, and you hear that spitting drum, you hear that. You know he's close, but you can't see him. That'll give you chills, man.
Yeah, that heart rate. That's when my heart starts beating real fast, man. So, and I think that's what got me into hunting. That's kind of what I was saying was all that adrenaline. That's just turned into something I don't fulfill that anywhere else. Like there's nothing like that sense of adrenaline and drive and the work you put into it. And for people who say like, well, I hunt for, it's too expensive to go to the store and buy meat, so I hunt. That's a lie. I have more money in my bow setup than I'd ever have buying meat at the store.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I have more money than anything I have hunting that I would ever buy enough meat for 3 years if I was to sell that stuff. So it's definitely just a hobby and an enjoyment that I don't get, anywhere else. And so that's like I told these boys when I was down talking to one of our mutual friends down in Moorhead at Bypass, I was blown away, man. Then I started Facebooking and looking at some of your kills and some of the harvest you took over in Africa, and it was just blew my mind from a guy who put his first 6-point buck down last year, and then look at some of the animals that you took with a bow. It's outstanding, man. So that's a dream.
And it's just been a lot of hard work, man. I mean, seriously, I've got pictures from Kentucky at my farm there, 6 and 8 pointers that, I've shot with my bow down there. And like I said, I'm like you. Bow hunting is the ultimate rush for me, being up close and personal. And, and like when we talk about the Africa, I never wanted to go to Africa. Had no desire to it. And I'll tell you the story if you guys don't mind me. I'll tell you how this all came about. So I'm real good friends with an NFL football player, and he knew I was in the hunting industry, and I filmed and everything. And he said, would you come film me on a lion hunt that I'm going to do? And he said, I know Africa's going to close down their lions, and I want to get one. And I'm like, man, I have no desire to go over there. And he goes, come on, I'll pay for you to shoot some animals. I'm like, and I'm thinking in my head, I hear Africa's all high fence, and it's like probably an acre fence, and this is where we're going to do it. And I just like, nah, not really, because I'll pay for it. And, and one of the guys said, dude, you're a fool if you don't go. Africa? He's paying for it. Go. Like, all right, I'll go. So I went. And then once I got there, I realized my concept of Africa was totally wrong. Totally wrong. The outfitter told me, I told him I wasn't really worried about killing something. He goes, I will let you have any animal on this $700,000 acre concession. If you can shoot it with your bow, just walk up and shoot it. Seriously, it's going to be cake. And I started just trying to do a sneak on an animal. Dude, it was not happening. I found out their fences are about 6 feet tall, and it looks like broom handles is what they hold their fences up with. And the reason they fence this is because if they don't fence the property, people will come in and squat on the property, and then they take it over. So that's why the fence is not necessarily for the animals. They provide the water and the food for the animals so they can stay there, so they don't want to leave and everything. So after that first year hunting, it was like, wow, this is cool, And filming a lion hunt with a bow, that was a total experience in itself, too. We were actually filming this lion we'd seen in the bush and everything. We'd seen some other ones, but there was a certain one we saw. It's like, okay, we need to get up on this guy. Like, seriously? We're going to get up? So, okay, it's bow hunting. I know we got to be 30 yards. And we'd snuck in up on this lion, and he's underneath a bush, and he just laying there. It was hot. And the guy, he made a great shot through the clavicle, blood popping out. The lion runs off the bush. I'm like, okay, cool. Let's sit and wait for this lion to expire. And the outfitter goes, well, no, we got to go get the lion. He said, other lions will smell the blood, and then they come and try to eat him. I'm like, oh, damn. I was thinking, here we go. So I'm filming, and I still have the footage to this day of just big piles of blood. And then we stop because you can hear the lion in the bush, and I'm thinking he's expiring. And the outfitter comes up with his binoculars, sets his gun down, and he throws his binoculars down and pulls his gun up real fast. I'm like, what's going on? And I look straight ahead of me. Here comes this lion, beating the bush, coming straight at us full bore. The only thing I can think is, oh, this is going to hurt, man. This is going to hurt. And I got the camera running. So I'm starting to back up a little bit because he's getting closer, and they're not shooting. And every bush in Africa has a thorn. I'll tell you that right now because I found them all. And so the lion got about 15 yards, and they made the first shot on him. He hit the ground, got up shaking his head. I got the camera around filming. The football player came up and he put the final shot on him right there. And it was like, holy smokes. I said, who was this lion coming for? He goes, did you get a look at his eyes? I said, yeah, he looked like he was looking at me. He said, well, then he was coming for you. I'm like, oh, man. But,
it's intense.
But it was super intense.
Yeah.
And so that started my whole African things, because seeing what they did with the food, nothing goes to waste over there. All the food either goes to in camp, we eat it in camp, it goes to the local schools, or it goes to the villages, or it goes to market. So nothing goes to waste there. And with this outfitter I'm with, that I work with now with Eland Safaris, it's the food. My wife is not a hunter. I will tell you right now. She doesn't like a lot of wild game, but she did not eat anything over there that she did not. We ate zebra, we ate ostrich, we ate eland bull, we ate kudu. I shot a Cape buffalo this last year, and we ate it all, and it was delicious. Absolutely did.
That's
It drives me wild.
That's a little bit of context that I don't think existed previously, right? Because I was just thinking, like, when you go to hunt in Africa, it seems like there's about a 50-50 chance on if, people are just going to be okay with it, or if you're going to start a viral shitstorm. But that context isn't in those posts that have kind of gone crazy. Like when people get mad about killing animals in Africa, nobody ever mentions that they use everything and that it goes to all these different places.
No, that's because they don't have the conversation. They get the concept. I'll first admit, I had a concept of Africa. Did you know in Botswana there is more elephants than there is people in Botswana? A lot of people don't know that. They think African elephants are about extinct. There is no way, and I can attest to that. I was hunting a kudu, and we was right up against Botswana, and the Limpopo River was dry. And I was at this guy's house where we were going to hunt, and everything was torn out. I said, did the storm come through here? He goes, no, the damn elephants come over from Botswana, tore my house up. I wish you Americans come and shoot them. It's like, I didn't know there was that many.
Done.
Kruger, yeah.
Let's make it happen.
Exactly. Kruger National Park. It's kind of like a lot of places here in the States where we have an overpopulation of deer in the parks. They eat all the habitat, and they have to do a reduction. They have to do it in Kruger also because there is so many elephants there. They got to mitigate that herd somehow, and that's why they have local hunts and everything. And rogue elephants, they have those hunts too because they destroy a lot of farms and farm crops and everything. And it's the only way. I shouldn't say it's the only way, but it's the best way to generate money for those locals is to let one of us hunters come over there, pay for the tag, and then they get all the meat to themselves. And it's amazing. It's again, we need to have the conversation. Why are we hunting and what's happening with what we hunt?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people think we're all hunters are rednecks. We're the guys rolling around with ARs hanging out our windows of our guns. And we got the little hat that's got beer cans on both sides of it and a straw in it. That's our concept of hunters.
Yeah, you're right.
It's not the truth. The conservationists are us guys, the guys who spend the money for the license, who manage the herd and do something with the game we take.
Yeah, it's hard to convince people that we hunt for not just our own, that you hunt because you can't just have an overrun population of doe or of deer in general. But so I live close to Greenbow State Park, that's in Greenup County, and the last several years they've done a quota hunt because they are overran right now with deer. I mean, and they are just like you said, they're killing the habitat there, they're killing the park, and it's hard for people to understand that it's not just that. It's not a bunch of drunk rednecks going out and with their shotguns or their whatever, because it seems like everybody you talk to thinks you're going to go out and, catch a deer with a shotgun and you're out there hooping and hollering and raising hell. And it's actually the exact opposite. I'm very disciplined when I hunt. I'm up at 4:30 in the morning. I'm very respectful of my land, of nature in general. And it's real hard. And I think you're right. If people would have that conversation and set those folks down with some of us and let's just talk across the table, I really think you would come to an understanding of why, not just why we do it, but the need for it to be done.
You can You can show them some video footage of blue tongue too. You can say, this is what overpopulation looks like. How would you rather the deer die?
How was that up there the last couple of years of the thing that you dealt with?
Indiana got hit pretty good last year. The year before we found a lot of dead deer on my lease and everything. It rebounded pretty good last year. The farm didn't get hit too bad last year before I was fine. Well, that was the same year that everything got hit there in Eastern Kentucky. My farm got hit with that too. I think I found 8 or 10 deer dead up there, and that blue tongue's a mean thing, man. But I just think it's Mother Nature's way of just kind of balancing everything out, So
as a hunter, it was one of the saddest things, to see. Is I would roll down the road and I'd see a big 6 or a big 8. I never seen anything bigger than an 8, but I did see a big 8. A big girthy 8, just, he was on the side of the road, probably 12 foot from the road. And you could see him. He was doing circles and you could just see he was going. And I called the game. I had a couple of game warden buddies and I made a phone call and they came out. And it's just, as a hunter, it was sad to see that go. And then as a person, you hate to see that animal suffer. Because I'm an animal lover above all else. I've got a dog at home that I would kill probably any man in this world over if he messed with her. But she's been my dog for 8 years. But I'll go out and kill turkey and deer, and that's fine. But blue tongue hit here a couple years ago very bad. In Carter County, Greenup County, hit Fleming County pretty good. Round County, not as severe, I don't think. But I was waiting last year for it to come back, and it didn't seem to take the hit that it did the year before. So I'm hoping this year kind of betters out, and we start to see some population back and things. But that story in Africa. Oh, go ahead, Blake.
That's one of the benefits of hunting, right? It keeps that kind of thing from happening because that's a symptom of overpopulation, isn't it?
Blue tongue is transmitted by a midge bug that bites. It's kind of like an intestinal thing. Once it gets in their intestine, it kind of just gets through their system. They run a high fever, fries their brain and everything, and that's where the disorientation comes. A lot of that is just from dry weather, dry summers, and pools get stagnant and everything, and that's where those midge flies they congregate around those pools and everything. So,
that's why you always find them by water, and we found them plenty in creeks and streams because they're so thirsty that they're just dried out. So
right.
I'm sure overpopulation plays a role because then you've got more animals to get more infected. So I'm sure that plays a role in the whole concept. But it's a wild thing, and then now you've got people who still to this day think that zombie deer exist. I just had a conversation about that 2 days ago.
Is that what the zombie deer was? Was it blue tongue?
I mean, that's what people want to say. I mean,
they want to say, yeah. But it's not.
There's not a
the
zombie.
way they act.
I mean, they just.
No, I remember the zombie deer. I just thought I didn't realize it was blue tongue though. I thought it was like this whole new thing.
No, they just make something up, man. They just want something to talk about. So now there's zombie deer. So.
Hey, it
sounds good.
Speaking of Trav, we need to do an ad read.
Oh yeah. So I'll stop right there, and we do want to thank our sponsors, Bypass Pawn in Moorhead, Kentucky. Those guys are rated #1 gun store and pawn shop in the region. Those guys sponsor us. They're our first sponsors here with the podcast. So go see Trav Holbrook. Go see Jonathan Bowman. Tell them Mitch and Matt sent you down. And right now, starting Monday, I think that would be July 5th, those guys are going to be doing in-house financing on firearms and ammo. That may be the 6th, 5th or 6th, whatever day that'll be. I think July 6th on that Monday, this coming Monday. They're going to start doing in-house financing on firearms and ammo. So definitely check out Bypass Pawn, Moorhead, Kentucky. Let them know Mitch and Matt sent you. And go pick yourself up something nice.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Good boys there. There.
Oh, I love them. Listen, that's how we got hooked up with Mr. Carl Drake. So I'll always be grateful for that, man.
Absolutely.
So what was New Zealand like? I know Zendel talked about it a lot. He seemed to love going over there.
Dude, I'll tell you what. And like I said, Zendel is a good dude. I knew Zendel back in the day when him and Audrey were together.
Mm-hmm.
So that tells you how long ago it's been.
That's a long.
New Zealand is, it's the area is absolutely beautiful. I tell guys that New Zealand's like the Rocky Mountains and Smoky Mountains together. There's 2 mountain ranges there. The mountains we were hunting the red stags and was kind of like the Smoky Mountains. And then when you go for tahr and chamois, it's up in the Rocky Mountains. It's snow-capped and it's up high. They're very proper over there, very nice. Things are very expensive over there too. I went to buy some black powder, just just a canister of black powder. It was about $100, where we pay for about $50 of it for black powder
Wow.
here, because I shot a fallow deer with my muzzleloader. But yeah, it's but I love New Zealand. I will go back, and I'm gonna go for tahr and chamois up in.
Does it really look like it does in Lord of the Rings? Like, is it that pretty?
There is parts of it that are, and where I was hunting, it was not too far from where they were filming the Lords of the Rings. But yeah, it's absolutely beautiful over there. Just the mountain ranges and everything, the desolation that's up on high. Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful.
Did y'all hear about that gun controller trying to pass there? It was right after that guy did that shooting.
Yes, that was kind of rough over there when he went into that mosque and shot all those people.
I think he referenced him in his manifesto at that time, but he went in. It was a mosque shooting.
Yeah,
and but afterwards, like the amount of people that actually complied, it was like so little. Like they just came out and said, "Yeah, all right, all of these are illegal now," but
yeah,
almost no one complied at all.
yeah. That's Canada's getting ready to go through that too, with their big list of guns that have been banned there, with the AR style semi-automatic guns, and so that's going to get real. I'm watching that one closely, especially because I know a lot of fellow hunters who are up there just to see how that one rolls through. So
yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah,
a weird time.
Yeah, I was gonna say the world's went crazy, and it's a time I never thought I would see. But it's I just try to keep pushing on, and I hope each day, it'll get back to normal at some point. So I hope for everybody's sake it does. So
seems like everybody's fighting some kind of a war, right? Like
everybody's pissed off at something. Everybody's pissed off at something.
It's everywhere.
Yeah.
That's our goal. Maybe we can just get people pissed off at us, and we'll be big time before we know it. Maybe that's all we need.
Yeah, like it's. I mean,
evidently once you're pissed, at something, it goes to the top of the charts on everything, man. So I don't have it in me. I can't be pissed off that much about the world. So, but I know talking to you tonight has just made me want to hunt more than anything. So,
well, good.
I'm gonna spend the next 3 months just waiting on deer season to roll around, I guess. So
no, I kind of want to check it out. The last time I hunted was in Sandy Hook when I was like 8 years old. So it was over 20 years ago. I think
a long time ago.
Yeah. I think I went deer hunting.
You weren't joking.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. I went squirrel hunting a few times, and then I went deer hunting once. Mostly I went frog gigging though. Like that was the main thing I always did back then.
Wait, was it frog gigging?
Yeah.
You never been frog gigging?
Yeah.
I've never even heard this term before.
So
I'm guessing it's frog hunting.
We're going frog gigging.
It's like grab you a stick and stab them in the head.
It's like a trident. It's like a little trident, and you walk around the pond at night, and you just.
Yeah. You never knew frog
like
gigging.
God of War.
We're going frog gigging. You and me are going frog gigging. That's happening.
But why? I don't eat
frog legs, man.
Oh, frog legs, man.
Have you ever had frog legs?
No.
What is wrong with?
They're good.
They're
amazing. Amphibian.
They're good.
It's an amphibian.
There's a Chinese restaurant right there on 32 going into Moorhead that has frog legs. You got yes. I hit it up every time I can.
That's what you ate that one day.
Yes,
you got them there at the buffet one day.
They're amazing.
They are. They're awesome. They are awesome.
Yes, I ate like 36 of them or something, I think.
You don't have to eat them though, Matt. Mitch will eat them. You can still go gigging. I mean, then you gotta I don't know. We probably won't talk about it on YouTube how it all goes down. But
yeah, but we'll go one
field dressing.
we'll go one day, man. I didn't know you'd never been frog gigging. So
now you just put them on a stringer.
You mentioned, Carl, that Matthew sponsors you guys. So you hunt with a Matthews bow, I'm assuming?
Absolutely, yeah. I took the Vertex with me to Africa just because I could get 80-pound limbs with it. Right. That's what I shot my Cape Buffalo with, 30 yards. And Yeah,
I don't think you can. I don't think you can ever go wrong with the Matthews. I think that's I personally don't hunt with the Matthews, but I've hunted with Matthews in the past, and I don't think they make a great bow. I mean, they do.
They do. I won't lie to you. They make a great bow, and we'd actually seek them out as a sponsor just because of the quality of their bows. But there's a lot of good bows out there, man. I'm telling you, Bear has came back into the industry with bows. The Divergent that they've got. My son just got that. That's a great bow. There's a lot of good bows out there, man.
I hunt with an Elite Cheer this year. The last couple of years I hunted with an Elite Ritual. It was Elite Ritual 30 because I've got a short draw length and I've got foot drop in one of my feet, my left foot. So getting out, depending on how I get up that morning, is if I can climb 17 feet up in a stand. And if I get up, my foot's not working. I kind of got to get in the blind that morning. So hunting out of a blind, I got that 30-inch draw in that Ritual. And then this year I went to an Elite Cure, and man, I love it. It's fast, it's a little forgiving, but it's dead on. But a lot of the buddies I hunt with, they're Matthews or die, and I mean you can't argue with them. They're a damn good bow.
Yeah.
I got a buddy who's a city cop in Moorhead, and he hunts with the Vertex, and it's smooth. I shot his last year, and literally when I pulled the release, I had to look and see if the arrow had left. I didn't feel it leave. I didn't know it left. I thought I didn't know what had happened, and it was gone before I knew it. And it's definitely awesome. A nice bow. Yeah, it was sweet. So, listen, brother, I know we've kept you for about an hour tonight, but
it's been awesome, man. Anytime,
man. Anytime you want to come on and tell some stories, man. That I want to go to Africa now worse than everything in my life.
Guys, I mean, listen, I've got a lot of resources. I've been a lot of places. I get groups together, take them alligator hunting and frog gigging and South Florida. So if you've never been frog gigging off an airboat, it's something you got to do. So, we had a couple buddies. We killed 2 8-foot alligators near Okeechobee with our bows. We had a blast in that, shot hogs. Dude, I've got resources that just, I love getting people, taking them hunting, and letting them experience that. There's nothing like seeing somebody's faces when they've, got an animal that they went after and just seeing the thrill. And I'm all about helping people out and doing it in it.
Oh, man, listen, let's get together and do something. I'll travel, man. We'll travel.
Okay.
After watching some of your hunts and looking at your Facebook and hearing these stories, I'm ready to go right now. So
I'm
able to get out of this hotel. I'm able to leave this hotel right now and come to Indianapolis. So,
well, if you guys do want to see some of the stuff I've done, just Google the Break Hunting Show. Go look at some of the episodes. We have past episodes on there. Actually, we'll have an episode air tonight at 11 p.m. Eastern, 10 o'clock Central on the Pursuit Channel. It's a Neested Foundation hunt. We team up with the Neested Foundation, take a lot of wounded veterans out there and fulfill their dreams and everything. And we always commit one show a year just to that, to show what that does. We do a lot of kids hunts, women's hunts. It's about getting everybody in the outdoors and sharing the experience. And, that's what it is. It's about the experience. Once you get them out there, they're hooked, and we love it. We absolutely.
Yeah, man. Well, it's a damn good thing that you do, and so thank you for doing it, especially for the veterans, man. Anything that we can do for those guys. I briefly owned a little bit of an outdoor shop that I did online last year, and I was always up to help veterans out, especially wounded veterans. Anything I could do like that was always a big deal to me. So that stays true to my heart. And so anytime anybody takes time out of their day or out of their schedule to help out, man, is a big deal. So I appreciate what you do for those guys. And again, I know we all three appreciate what you're doing up in Indianapolis right now. Stay safe, man. It's dangerous out there. So please stay safe. I can't have you getting hurt, and we can't go to Africa if you get hurt.
That's right.
Yeah. I have to come up and protect you, I guess. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'll bring Matt.
I'd be a little nervous. I'd be a little nervous hunting a line with the bow.
Right.
Taking a line with the bow, I mean that's some balls.
That sounds amazing.
Like I don't have like a 450 SOCOM or something. I would not feel comfortable taking a line. 458 SOCOM, 50 Beowulf or something. Then maybe I'll take care of a lion. But hand me a bow, I'm just gonna shit my pants and cry. I mean,
that does seem a little scary, doesn't it?
Yeah, because they come right back at you. Like They get pissed off that you shot them, and they want to come and kill you.
Yeah, you see those videos where like the lion's
shooting something that just dies and runs away.
Right.
Well, I will tell you, there's more people injured and killed by Cape buffalo than there are lions in South Africa.
Wow.
Yeah, so you Google it, YouTube it, and you'll see they're bad boys, and they take a lot of bullets too. And we, like I said, we was lucky enough to get one with our bow this year. So, and I'll have to send you guys that episode, let you see it. So it was,
we can't wait, man. That'll be nice.
Pretty exciting. So, but,
we'll definitely give you. Thanks for coming on, man. Thanks for your time and your stories.
Yes,
that was awesome. It was
yeah,
it's a good time, man. So we appreciate the hell out of it. I know you got a few days off, so enjoy your vacation. Before you gotta go back to that chaos, be safe, stay safe. It was a
you
pleasure,
guys
man.
take care out there, and we'll give you a call when we're in town, and let's go have lunch or something, man.
Let's make it happen, man. Let's get it together.
Great.
We'll do it. All right, brother.
Man.
Have a good night.